welcome to the Patriot Hour. It is Friday, and we got big news here, folks. I am proud to announce the DOJ has dropped all charges against Michael Flynn for their probe into the whole bullcrap. In the wake of the internal memo release, I'd like to share this with you guys real quick. This was sent to me by one of the Patriots here at the Patriot Hour. Part of it, I gotta get a nice folder or poster holder frame, nice frame. Patience and time. Backwards. There you go. It's awesome. Jonna, Lynn, and Jeff, they sent that a while ago. But we're going to jump into this article here without further ado. Again, here at the Patriot Hour, we encourage you to always think for yourself and always come to your own conclusions. After digging into all the facts for sometimes several years like we have, that's all you can do, folks. Wait until the wheels of justice move, because they move slow. But boy, when they do, you better watch out. Okay, so make sure you are subscribed here. We appreciate it. That way you get all the alerts when we go live, when we go video like this, just so you get alerted. Okay, so the DOJ drops a case against Michael Flynn 13 minutes ago in the wake of an internal memo release. The Justice Department on Thursday dropped its case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn in a stunning development that comes after internal memos were released, raising serious questions about the nature of the investigation that led Flynn in late 2017 guilty plea of lying to the FBI. The announcement came in the court filing, with the department saying it is dropping the case after a considered review of all the facts and circumstances of this case, including the newly discovered and disclosed information. The documents were first obtained by the Associated Press. DOJ sources confirmed the decision to Fox News. The retired Army Lieutenant General for months have been trying to withhold his plea, aided by a new attorney who has aggressively, talking about Sidney Powell, challenged the prosecution's case and conduct. But the case has been plodding through the court system with no resolution ever since his original plea, even amid speculation about whether President Trump himself could extend a pardon. So we got a little blimp in here. Mueller prosecutor withdraws Flynn case after questions surfaced concerning his compliance with court order. So the DOJ would appear to put an end to that process. Earlier Thursday, the top prosecutor on the case, Brandon Van Grock, abruptly withdrew from the case without explanation in a brief filing with the court. Breadcrumbs were being dropped in the days preceding the decision in this case. His case could be reconsidered. Documents unsealed a week ago by the Justice Department revealed agents discussed their motivations for interviewing him in the Russia probe, questioning whether they wanted him to lie so he'd be fired or prosecuted, or get him to admit wrongdoing. Flynn allies howled over the revelations, arguing that he was essentially set up in a perjury trap. In that interview, Flynn did not admit wrongdoing and instead was accused of lying about his contacts with a then Russian ambassador, to which he pleaded guilty. Then on Wednesday, the DOJ released mostly unredacted version of the former acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's 2017 scope memo, outlining the authority then Special Counsel Robert Mueller had for his investigation. That document revealed for the first time that Mueller's authority went significantly beyond what was previously known. Rosenstein's memo was known to have authorized Mueller to probe any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Trump, and any matters that arose or may arise directly from the investigation, and or other matters within the scope of obstruction of justice of laws. But the new document made clear that Rosenstein authorized a deep dive criminal probe into the Trump campaign that extended well beyond the Russia interference efforts. The memo revealed that Mueller was, among other things, looking into whether Flynn committed a crime or crimes by engaging in conversations with Russian government officials during the period of the Trump transition. That was an apparent reference to the Logan Act, which is an obscure statute that has never been successfully used in criminal prosecution. It was intended to prevent individuals from falsely claiming to represent the United States abroad. Now, real quick, if you remember, Trump brought that up over the Kerry, the whole John Kerry. Well, maybe Kerry broke the Logan Act, and then all the media was like, "Oh, that's obscure." Even Kerry himself went on to multiple shows talking about, well, as a past government official, we have relationships, and especially as a State Department guy, I had relationships. And basically went on to tell us how he had the right to talk. Now, if you're in coordination, and that makes sense that we might have laws where past relationships, we get people in and out in 4 years or maybe 8 if they follow a certain cabinet or presidency. Hillary Clinton did 4 of the State Department. But yet you think if you have these relationships, and some countries we deal with keep people in for quite a while with other methods of how they run their governments, and maybe you would want that. But the person that's, if you're a ex-past Secretary of State, you might have to come into the White House and make those phone calls. You might have to schedule times with the White House and come into a secure SCIF room or share all the information. It has to be in line with the current presidency, authorized and blessed by them, and then they need to be debriefed. You can't just do it all on your own from your own cell phone or go visit them personally. Maybe you can. I don't know all the rules. I'm sure there are some rules and regs, and you got to follow those. But Trump brought that up as a point, and the media mocked him that Kerry couldn't be charged with, and how can Flynn? He's past this, maybe past relationships. So I'm not saying that, and, they also possibly could ask, like, did you have any conversations? And he had said no. And then they're like, well, here's a picture of you at this event, and there's cameras around. And he's like, well, I thought you meant like outside of my normal work. No, we meant it all. See how they can wrap you up. And then the whole point to even look at him for that Logan Act, when it wouldn't have been a violation of the law if it wasn't for Kerry, and you're not going to look at him when Trump brings it up about him several years after all of this. It's just things to keep in mind, folks, that we have gone over, and how ridiculous this has all been. So there was an apparent reference to the Logan Act, which we just kind of went over, all right? Meanwhile, the handwritten notes showing agents discussing his interview, which were pinned by the former FBI's former head of counterintelligence, Bill Priestap, after a meeting with then FBI Director James Corney and then FBI Director Andrew McCabe, caused even bigger reverberations for the case. Now, the notes released last week showed agents considered various options in the run-up to the fateful January 2017 interview, including getting Flynn to admit that breaking the Logan Act when he spoke to former Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak during the presidential transitional period. What is our goal? One of the notes said. Truth, admission, or get him to lie so we can prosecute or even get him fired. If we get him to admit breaking the Logan Act, give facts to the DOJ and have them decide. Another note read, the memo appears to weigh the pros and cons of pursuing those different paths, while cautioning, if we're seen as playing games, the White House will be furious. Aside from swiftly being ensnared in Mueller's investigation and the fallout from that interview, Flynn was fired for his prominent post as a national security advisor in February 2017. The resignation came as he was accused of misleading Vice President Pence and other senior White House officials about his communications with Kislyak. Flynn's communications with Kislyak in December 2016 had been picked up in a wiretap discussions. Unbeknownst to him, the FBI agents in January 2017 questioned him on the communications and later used his answers to form the basis for false statements to charge and get him with a guilty plea. Flynn's supporters have insisted he was innocent, but pressure to plead guilty when his son was threatened with prosecution and he exhausted his financial resources. The release of the handwritten FBI notes fueled accusations from Flynn's defenders that agents did not conduct themselves properly in the case. Meanwhile, Rosenstein's scope memo furthered a Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, review into Flynn's dealings with Turkey. Prosecutors suggested Flynn's guilty plea on one count of false statements to the FBI is what allowed him to escape liability for a possible FARA charge. In other words, the FARA cause may have provided leverage. FARA prosecutions have picked up dramatically in recent years. A prosecutor, Van Grack, who led the DOJ's case against Flynn, was appointed to head up now new FARA unit at the Justice Department in 2019. Van Grack had been under scrutiny for claiming to federal court that he had turned over all relevant exculpatory involving Flynn, even through a slew of exculpatory documents that surfaced last week. The case has come at an enormous cost for the retired three-star Army Lieutenant General and his family. As he has racked up millions of dollars in legal bills, he was forced to sell his house, lost his job, and saw his reputation sullied. Attorney Sidney Powell told Fox News last week that Flynn paid his first law firm, Covington and Burling, approximately $3.5 million. It is unclear the total amount of Flynn's legal bills, but reports suggested last year that he may have had more than $4.6 million in unpaid legal bills at the time. Flynn earlier this year moved to withdraw his guilty plea for making false statements to the FBI regarding his communications with Kislyak. His legal team at the time said that the move was because the government's bad faith, vindictiveness, and breach of plea agreement. And just, I would like to add all out effery, because they were pissed that they didn't win. So in December 2017, on the brink of financial ruin, Flynn was forced to put his home in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia, located just out of Washington, D.C., on the market, an asking price of $895 to pay his mounting legal bills. According to Zillow, the townhouse sold for $819,995 in September 2018. Powell confirmed the sale of the house to Fox News. Fox News, Jake Gibson, and the Associated Press contributed. All right, so there you go. And there you go, folks. Breaking news for this Thursday. Look for more things to come later this evening, tomorrow. It's going to be huge. We're going to be back to live maybe later this evening. I'm going to do something. I got to get out of studio here. I got to go. I got to run. But I do want to get to a live show later. Probably just be me, maybe Fluid Pour. We'll see. Maybe Ben, if he's back and feeling like it. If not, tomorrow morning for those guys. Look for other shows tonight, but there are going to be things dropping later tonight, tomorrow. It's just the first of many booms. But don't take my word. Use your own judgment. Look at everything you can. Watch everybody you can. Listen to everything you can. Believe none of it until you can verify it. Again, this is Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you. And we'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video. Coming real soon.